So you're also working a bit with the history of the industry, of the perfume
Yeah.
industry. So how has the history of the perfume industry and the and international production of aromatics shaped the current state of the flavor and fragrance industry?
Well, I mean, that's a big answer. Writ large, the what I'm arguing, at least in my thesis, and I don't think it's a big argument, is that the way the fragrance industry has been created was based on models set up in Europe, and business models, and it was so closely tied historically to the aristocracy in Europe. Historically, like deep history, not necessarily the case, but in the genesis of the fragrance industry. And those sort of associations and structures evolved to become the industry as we know it today through a series of mergers and acquisitions and all that beautiful stuff. And so the big argument that I make, every day what I teach is that this one narrative of what fragrance is not the only narrative of what fragrance is, or could be. Like, it doesn't have to be tied to commerce. It could just as easily have been tied to art making, or meditation. I don't know. And so basically sort of examining that trajectory of how the fragrance industry became will, I hope, help me sort of pick apart where the roots of practice became entrenched to the exclusion of others. And that, of course, impacts accessibility for people like you and me.
Yeah, and that's interesting what you said about all the different parts of scent making. It's not, there can't be just one, because this is such an interdisciplinary place to be. I mean, there's
Totally.
aromatherapy, there's perfumery, of course, but the way that scent is used is in so many different ways, or
Absolutely.
in religion. So
Seduction, health, beauty, you name it, it's all there.
yeah,
But the way
so
we've been sort of, I don't know, we've been led or trained or encouraged or whatever to use it is in the context of buying a perfume at a department store mostly.
yeah, I think it kind of goes back to, historically, smell has been kind of this sense that we don't talk about that much. So there is still space to prove a lot of things, or
Yeah,
there's space for people to make claims which haven't been
yeah,
necessarily proven, because
exactly.
we all just kind of work in it without.
Taking the time to reflect, right, or research. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And I hold myself in that group. Like, I've definitely made claims like perfumery is Eurocentric. It's a claim I make all smug. I mean, it is, but it also really isn't. Historically. So it's sort of expanding the lens a little bit too for myself. There's a lot of things being said on the internet, and it's hard to find your place in it. It gets a little dizzying. So that's sort of my attempt with this PhD, is to be like, just no, stop, everybody, Saskia, shut up. Everybody, shh. Like, what do I actually know as a person? And then hopefully communicate that, adding to the work that's been done by amazing people doing work in this space, like Caro Verbeek and, all these people who are doing all this work already, Nuri McBride, just adding my own little part of it, my own little research, hopefully.
and is there space for more experiential uses of scent in your PhD, or are you really focusing on
I mean, it's part of the process is narrowing down your focus. So when I first started the program, I was like, I'm going to write the history of scent, and access for all time and all cultures. And my advisor was like, cute. So part of this narrowing down of my focus has been, I'm talking a little bit about experimental work with scent or olfactory art or stuff like that, but really, I'm really having to narrow it down to the practice of perfumery as as a product you put on the skin, because otherwise I could be doing this for 50 years and still not have anything to show. So I'm touching on olfactory art and all that, but I'm not going too deep.
well, and part of this great future that we're heading towards, I guess, is that there's so much experimentation happening out there. And that's
Yeah,
also part of the Institute for Art and Olfaction, that there's so much experimentation happening as well. And it's a really cool space.
it's a cool time to be alive. In general, and especially if you're interested in fragrance. What an amazing space we're all in now, where we have access to all this stuff, these ideas and whatnot. It's cool. It's super cool. I think we're fortunate.